Nothing ever exists entirely alone. Everything is in relation to everything else. The Lord Buddha. So yeah, this is the next quote that I will be talking about. What springs to mind straight away is the expression, it's a small world. You know, like we're so connected to everyone. You know, once I went to Paris and I saw someone I knew just across the road. It's like, hello, Vinny, what are you doing here? You know, like we are all so connected on this planet. But recently, I don't know, I've been saying the opposite. You know, it's a big world that we live in. So much to explore, so many different cultures. It's so diverse. You know, there's a lot of countries I'd love to visit. But at the moment we're taking like staycations, exploring Britain, which is great. Anyway, so yeah, nothing ever exists entirely alone. So yeah, I read a book about a year ago about quantum physics. I've got an interest in science, quantum physics in general, string theory, topology. But anyway, I read this book called Helgoland, which was about the person who came up with quantum mechanics, like putting together all the mathematics and everything. He was on this island. Helgoland is an island off Germany, where they don't have trees that triggered his hay fever. So he just went there to get some respite from his allergies, and he spent the whole time on your own. What a treat to have, you know, a week to yourself to contemplate, to think about the world. And he actually, came up with quantum mechanics. And when he got back, he told his, team of enthusiasts or fellow scientists or whatever. Oh, okay, hold on a sec. Sorry, I'll need to edit this because I had to put my dog on the lead momentarily. You never know how other dogs will be, so it's just a precaution. Oh, there's people ahead as well. Normally it's just us on this walk. Oh, it'll be fine. Okay. So, what was I saying? Yes, Helgoland, this book, absolutely incredible. If you're into quantum mechanics, I recommend this book. So, yes, what they found in quantum mechanics, and this is the point I'm trying to get to in a roundabout way, sorry. So if you try and find the properties of an atom, you cannot find the properties of an atom unless you compare the properties to the atom which is next to it. So I find that really interesting that, we can't really define or say exactly what an atom is without comparing it to the one next to it. So everything's in motion, everything's energy, everything is connected. I think, this is just wonderful. This is what I love about Buddhism. It's like thinking of the whole, everyone, not just myself. People, Buddha taught, to get away from that mentality of just thinking about me, and to think of others or the whole. How do my reactions hurt others? I can actually control my reactions. I can't control what others say or do to me, but we can be peaceful, kind, caring, loving. So nothing ever exists entirely alone. Everything is in relation to everything else. This quote reminds me, that I do have an impact on other people's lives, and maybe I need to do more to help others. I feel like I've lived quite a selfish life, really, catering to my own needs and desires, not really helping people. I've never had a career that's like, a nurse or, well, actually I was a lecturer a few times, like talking at universities about textiles. So I guess I have, and like, you know, friends of mine would say, oh, you help a lot of people. But yeah, I don't feel like I've had a career that's helping people every day the way people do, you know. I have lots of family who have really selfless careers where they put all their heart and soul into helping others, which is fantastic. But yeah, even just smiling at a stranger in the street, we can have an impact on their day. You know, I feel like energy is contagious. You know, if someone cries, you know, if I see someone crying, and I did a few weeks back, I started crying too. So, you know, energy is contagious. You know, if someone laughs, you generally laugh with them if you find the jokes funny. Most of the time, yeah, I think people will laugh with you. But yeah, that's fine if you have your own private joke. But yeah, nothing exists entirely alone. You know, this dog is always by my side. Bless him. Yeah, we affect each other. It's a good reminder to think, you know, to ensure we affect each other in a positive way, not a negative way. And this is what I remind myself when I do feel these delusions of anger or jealousy. You know, I'm able to concentrate the mind on the present moment, have a fresh perspective, be inspired by Buddha to control my mind, and it really helps, you know. So in the time we live in, when, you know, there's injustice all around the world, wars, you know, you might have a family member who's been treated wrong in the workplace or by someone. It's, you know, it's highly frustrating, you know, but we need to remember why this has happened, or how we can just make it better without being angry or vengeful, you know, to keep it calm, peaceful, straight to the point. Yeah, I remember when I first went to a Buddhist temple about, 7 years ago? 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago now. You know, I was told, you know, I had an injustice happening in my life. And I was told, you know, Buddhists are not, you know, we're peaceful, calm, but we're not walkovers. You know, if something happens that's bad, illegal, then you go to the police, you report it, you know, because that's someone's karma. And, you know, unfortunately for them, you know, if they have to go to prison, that's their karma. They've done something wrong, and you have to stand up for what is right. We all affect each other. If someone's affected in a bad way, maybe the perpetrator needs to, you know, like pay for what they've done. And that's their own karma. And also it stops other people from being hurt, abused, or whatever it is. So, yeah, I try and use these quotes as a way to remind me of this. Oh, wow, look at this tree. You know, this world we live in. Yeah, Buddha is guiding me on this path to happiness, to liberation. But yeah, isn't this tree just beautiful, all the knots in it? Yeah. I was having a conversation with some parents last week, friends with friends, who were worried about their child who was adopted, and saying that, you know, in school they're kind of celebrating all the weird and wonderful aspects of people's personalities, you know. So that's the positives of the world we live in now. We are encouraged to just be ourselves, to accept other people for their weird and wonderful ways. But yeah, so I'd love to hear your comments on this quote. Please do let me know what this makes you think of. Nothing ever exists entirely alone. Everything is in relation to everything else. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Wishing you a wonderful day. Namaste.